super stoked to talk with all of you about your questions that you all posted earlier over the weekend. So I just wanted to start answering those questions. I have them here on my phone. So I will go through them one by one and answer as many as I can on this particular Ask Muneeza. So I hope you're all doing well. It is well into spring here right now. As you can see, the trees and all are pretty green outside. Things are sprouting. You guys missed, actually, we had such a big bloom of our magnolia tree, and it was pretty stunning. She puts on quite a show for us every spring. It only lasts 3 to 4 days, but then it is pretty glorious once it lasts. Right now, the lilacs are coming in, which I'm always very excited about because lilacs are so have such a fragrance and a beauty. I am really excited to you know, have them, cut some out, bring them into the home, have a little garden with them. That's always really nice. Good morning, happy trails, wags and tails, Serena. Good morning, Kim Clancy. You sent me an email last week. I don't know that I got that, so let me know where you sent it. Okay, so our first question, somebody asked is why do people sometimes crave chalk? So people crave all kinds of things, Cassie. It could be chalk, it could be a whole bunch of things that people crave. I think it has to do with metals in the brain, which is why we crave certain things. I know people say, well, you crave chalk because you need minerals. You may need minerals, but I don't think that's the root of a chalk craving. Reversing cataracts beside 369 cleanses, one of the most powerful tools. I think saffron and saffron tincture and saffron tea. Renata asked, insomnia that flips natural sleep hours around, sleeping during the day. Any thoughts? Often I would consider maybe a form of narcolepsy in there. Lots of heavy metal saturating parts of the brain, but also adrenals would play a role if it's switched. And yeah, I think that you might need more melatonin to help bring the nighttime circadian rhythm into balance, more sunshine during the day, so that you can kind of recalibrate. What are your thoughts on creatine? I don't think it's helpful, and it's not best. It's not best absorbed or in the right form for our bodies. I think people think that you can just take pretty much anything and it'll be okay, but not everything is okay, actually. What kind of trouble can IVF do in the body? Well, I mean, you have to take all these hormones, right? And hormones, artificial hormones, lead to problems. I mean, um, how we talk about problems with birth control. I talk a lot about that. I talk a lot about birth control in our Blossom program, right here or on the side if you can see it. And I think with with birth control, basically there's so much written up about birth control and cancer and hormones in cancer. And if you notice how many breast cancers are, you know, estrogen positive cancers. It's not your own estrogen which makes the cancer happen. It's these toxic estrogens that come from birth control and IVF or hormone replacement therapy. All these, I mean, they want to put hormones into women from the time they become pubescent until, way beyond menopause. Women can be on hormone replacement therapy. It's all the same stuff. They call it different things. When you're trying to you know prevent babies, they call it birth control. When you're trying to manage hot flashes and menopause symptoms, they call it hormone replacement therapy, as though your hormones just go away. I mean, they sort of do, but it's like the same thing. So the side effects are all the same too. So it's really a big deal to consider. Okay, so for IVF, if you have to take those hormones and you get exposed to metals and toxins and petroleum and all kinds of other ingredients that are put into those injections or pills, then the purpose of it is to have a baby, right? So I believe that that's a much higher purpose. And then humans sacrifice all kinds of things to bring a baby into the world. And I completely agree that that's a very noble cause, and is I support any woman choosing anything, when it comes to birth control or hormones. But at the same time, you also have to know the side effects and how to mitigate them. So I think it's very helpful to be able to go and make sure you're doing like pharmaceutical exposure shots and toxic heavy metal exposure shots, and you're bringing all of those in so that you can keep healing. Um, Shining Star says, I get canker sores every few weeks. Um, I had an oral exam. Dentist said everything is okay. Propolis applied gets rid of them. What else can I do? I would do lysine, high levels of lysine if you can. And for those of you who are still new to us or learning about us, Blossom is starting. It's our women's health program. It covers everything from women's health to infertility, pregnancy, birthing, postpartum, lactation. We just added a new nursing program to it. So I hope you'll check that out because that's pretty cool. All right, next question. Kind of hiccups with loud yelps since the weeks. What could that be and how to get rid of them? Um, well, I would bring in a little magnesium glycinate because it sounds like you might be having a bit of a twitch happening in the body. Heal with Core says, what are your thoughts on ivermectin? I think it can be anti-inflammatory, and I think that's pretty much all it can do. But in some cases, it can help people. So I don't object to it. I just think that you don't want to be relying on it solely for anything. How long can you eat fat free? Pretty much all your life if you take in enough greens. You need to get the microfats from greens in order to be able to be healthy with your uh, with your eating and getting enough nutrients in. So you need greens, lots of greens. Okay, so Melanie says, pregnant, all symptoms, acne, IBS, got so much worse. What can I do? Melanie, if you're pregnant, please join Blossom if you can, because in there I can teach you all about supplementation while pregnant. And it's much harder for me to give that advice to you because I know nothing about you. And if your symptoms are worse, start doing some food protocols like pathogen exposure shot if you can handle it, or turmeric ginger shots. But when it comes to other things, um, supplements, I won't be able to give you that advice here. I need to know more about you to support you. But if you have questions, Melanie, message me and I will get back to you. Mary Loves MM says, lower hernia on MM, no fats, no oil, no salt. I don't want to get surgery. But then if you don't want surgery, you need to heal the tissues that have stretched and allowed the hernia to form. So cherries, cherry juice, kale, cruciferous veggies, silica, nettle, aloe are all really helpful for that. Cucumber juice too. But the problem is that a hernia can get worse in the time that you're trying to heal it. So if you need surgery, then you might just need to do that, and what have you. So what's considered a normal libido? I mean, how am I supposed to explain that? That you feel an urge to basically an urge of arousal. I think that is basically the a libido, right? So um, how often, you said, how often do you feel the arousal? Um, in a healthy woman and a healthy, well, men can be aroused very quickly most of the time, unless they have like erectile dysfunction or something. But for women, you know, libido goes up and down with your cycle. So you often will feel your libido more when you're ovulating, which makes sense. Nature wants you to make a baby, so you'll feel your libido more. If you feel your libido really strong throughout the month, you could be a little over adrenalized. So you want to check that. But the way it's supposed to work is libido goes up during ovulation, comes down, and then it's not zero out of ovulation, it's just lower. So I hope that helps. If you're just joining me, this is Ask Muneeza. Post a question. I'm answering questions that were submitted to us over the weekend. So I'm reaching out. Ask me a question. So, all right. So, our next question is what would you recommend for a 15-year-old with emotional instability, anxiety, and self harm tendencies? I would recommend doing celery juice, morning cleanse, and really focusing on heavy metal detox. Andrea Rent says on diet for 2.5 years, what causes a 6-month-old babe to spit up post feeds could be a little reflux. So if you have a baby refluxing and they're 6 months old, I would start giving them a little bit of celery juice. Lori and Lorian Devan says Vitex Berry is helpful for missed periods and lessen cramps over time. Question mark. Vitex Berry can be very soothing and tonic for your whole reproductive system. So yes. Katerina says, are you still doing 369s? Oh, excuse me. I did one. I did a couple. I did one in January. I did one in Feb. And I haven't done, I've sort of been on a lot of tools from the 369, but I haven't been doing a full 369 since then. I did another one last, I think a few weeks ago. So what has improved is my sleep has always improved. My tiredness has improved. My viral loads have improved. My general just ability to function in life is better. My mind is clearer. So yeah, that's all better. So Bridget Jones says, do you get a hard time about your name given the movie? How to help recovery after abdominal surgery, asking for a friend, doing oral arnica, some of the other Vimergy vitamins and herbs. So it's funny, people always joke about the asking for a friend because you're like asking for yourself, but asking for a friend. And you could genuinely be asking for a friend, but I just have to point it out, right? So after abdominal surgery, arnica is good. Make sure it's 200C. And some other Vimergy vitamins. You need nettle, and it's abdominal surgery, so you need nettle, silica, aloe, cucumber juice to help repair the skin, skin potion, the MSM with the vitamin C and the orange juice. That's very helpful. Vitamin C in high dosages, really helpful to recover from scar tissue. Those are the major things that I would focus on. Pernille, nice to see you here. Another asking for a friend, although I know Pernille's really asking for a friend. In your opinion, can working as a trainer in an indoor pool ignite a migraine for the first time in your life? My friend is 50, so nice to see you again. Nice to see you too, Pernille. It could, because the chlorine is toxic. So it can definitely be sort of an exposure. All right. Our next question is posted over the weekend. Love and Healing says, bloating issues again after 5 years on fat-free for 2 years. Why now? Could be that you're dealing with some additional stress. And so these issues are building over time. And bloating doesn't just happen overnight. Bloating happens because you weaken in your liver, becomes sluggish, stagnant. Your hydrochloric acid in your stomach becomes low. You can have issues with bile becomes weak, and so this is sort of a trifecta that can really create bloating. So why now? It can happen. Adrenaline, any amount of adrenaline in higher amounts, sometimes our body cannot handle and will weaken and help you reach a tipping point. So when you're dealing with adrenaline, your liver has to absorb it and neutralize it. And so if the liver's capacity is diminished, the liver's becoming more sluggish. and getting into sort of the weakening of the hydro. So high adrenaline also lowers your hydrochloric acid production, and just the two things alone could increase your bloating. So bring in more celery juice, do celery juice twice a day, and see what happens after that. Stephanie says cracked heels. That's a liver issue. So work with a 369, lowering fat and supporting and doing a lot more hydration because your hydration is low. Maria Jeza says root canal or implant, which one is less bad? Root canal is always the better option. If you can save the tooth, save the tooth. Implants are very hard on, they drill into the gum and the bone and to hold the implant in there. And while some people need it and some people do it because that's their only option, if you have an option not to do it, I would encourage you not to do it. Stephanie says thoughts on sacred geometry. I love sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is sort of my logo for my business is from sacred geometry. It's a flower of life because I believe that all creation stemmed from this sacred geometric pattern, and I think that sacred geometry is fractal geometry is the whole basis of how God made the universe, how everything can be on a geometric mathematical pattern. And because the universe is built on numbers, it's on a scientific mathematical pattern, yet it allows for everything to be completely unique. Humans are unique. Animals are unique. And you can look at sacred geometry of eyes of all animals, and they will still fit the golden ratio, and they will still fit, but they're all so different. So it's just like it's infinite, and only God could have created that. So I absolutely love sacred geometry. The next question is rebuild exposed dentin is possible. It's very hard to rebuild exposed dentin. You have to fill that cavity, otherwise it will go right down to the root very quickly. Cleanse to Thrive says, do babies 10 months old need to take EPA DHA? You can get it from mom's milk, so they don't need to take it directly. But as they get older, 1 to 2 years old, then yes, you want to start giving them a little bit more EPA DHA. I have a question coming in from Serena. Serena says, I've started one of the HMDS cleanses, and finally my brain feels uh, uh, not, are you trying to say not on fire? Not in a bad, feels let on fire. Not in a bad way, but I'm being more creative again. Oh, that way. Okay, I thought maybe you were having a symptom of burning. I was lucky if I shot one video, and last week I did 5. Amazing. Heavy metal detox cleansing is so powerful for the body to heal from. Uh, Sunrise 88 says, I have inflammation of the brainstem and severe ME/CFS. I also suffer from migraines, insomnia, and sensitivity to supplements. What would you recommend? I would recommend that you work with nerve shifter shots because it's a food and it's not a supplement, and it's really powerful for soothing the nerves. And because you have cranial symptoms, you might want to consider doing a really simple mono cleanse for a month or so and seeing if it makes a difference for you. In that case, I would do celery juice twice a week. Not twice a week, twice a day. All right, next question is how do I improve my energy? This is a question from Ceci Navarro, and she says best foods or supplements. I have a toddler and I'm not sleeping that much. So to improve energy, I would bring in the adrenal fight or flight shots if you can, licorice, ashwagandha, make sure you're eating every 90 minutes, the adrenal healing snacks, and so on. Ceci says, should I continue Vimergy supplements during the 369 simplified? I would. 100% I would continue, especially because you are so symptomatic. Caro says, fried brain so bad, going through a divorce, what do I need? I would do the brain burnout stabilizer shot. That can be really supportive to the brain. BM Design says both low hemoglobin and white blood cell counts. For that, I would bring in more shaga, more raw honey, pomegranate juice, cherries, burdock root. All these tools can help build up cell counts. Of course, shaga. Don't forget shaga. Shaga is really important for that too. Dina Jalou says strong itching and rash on the vulva. Why? You could have a strep infection or another kind of, most likely a strep infection. And so you want to take care of that with taking in more golden seal, more garlic, lomatium, eye bright, vitamin C, zinc. All of them will help you feel a bit better. Erin Grimes says, infection in the toenail, which needs antibiotics. What can I do to get rid of them from the system before, after, or during? So you want to bring in the pharmaceutical exposure shot, a little bit of the extractor, and maybe the toxic heavy metal exposure shot. All of them will make a difference. So why do gum inflammations occur, and how can they be prevented? Gum inflammation often happens either because you have shingles and all the gums become inflamed, or you can have a local infection from a bacterial infection that can cause an issue. So either way, it depends on the root cause. How can it be prevented? Um, Lots of vitamin C and zinc and B12 as a baseline in your diet, and then bringing in some golden seal, cat's claw, lemon balm, and herbs to help counteract that as well. If you have a tendency, then I would make sure you're on those things more on a more regular basis. Um, Next question is from Seti New, and Seti says, my face skin looks like abrasive paper, not acne, rather a lot of clogged pores, only on my face. If that's the case, you've got a lot of liver cleaning to do and lymphatic cleaning to do. So I would lower fats, try to bring in some apples, cucumber juice, aloe, nettle leaf. That will help. Do some 369s if you can, and go from there. See what improvements come your way. But papaya too is a really great skin cleaner. The Real Evagram says sweet potatoes only for scar tissue or helps with fibrotic tissue as well. I believe it can help with both. What do you think about beef tallow as a moisturizer? I personally don't like to use animal products on my body also, so I think I wouldn't do that personally. But if tallow doesn't enter your skin, so if you wanted to use it topically, that would be your choice and it would be okay to do. It would not go into your liver from there. It's too big a molecule to absorb through the skin, but it would help the upper layers of the skin. How best to heal 10-year-old stomach flu and no appetite and doing coconut water. Shen, a 10-year-old with a stomach flu, I would give them a little bit of oil of oregano, pears, and ginger to help soothe the stomach. Lausel says, hey there, how are you? Most important things to do before and after dental work. I have a whole blog post about this. Look up muneezaahmed.com, click dental surgery, and there's an article that I've written about everything you need to do for this topic. So, how to heal cavities for the whole family, including non-MM members. Swish with celery juice, but fuchsia. Nicolette says, MM-friendly food places in New York City. I have a blog about this. Go to my blog and type restaurants, and it will pop up. And just verbally, ABCV is good. Bar Verde, Double Zero are all good options for you to go to in NYC. Also, Divya's Kitchen. Go to Divya's. Divya's is very clean. They use very low fat. You get good options there, and they are fundraising right now because we're trying to keep them open. So I would recommend that you go to Divya's Kitchen. Absolutely love that place. Heal with Core says, what supplements are good for seasonal allergies? Along with golden seal, you need a lot of vitamin C and curcumin as well. So why Tatus B15 says, why lemon water or pepino juice is not enough sometimes when you feel so dehydrated? Because you probably need a lot more hydration. So I would recommend coconut water, lemon water, cucumber juice, melon juice, and apples. These, if you bring these into your diet, like in a week, lots of them, you will start to notice changes in how you feel. You won't feel so dehydrated. Nadezda Bankova says, I want to lose weight 5 kilograms, but I cannot. I don't have a thyroid gland. What can I do? I would work with lowering your dietary fat for about a month or two and see if that makes a difference. If not, do a 369 cleanse. Plant-based for healing says, PX piping versus copper piping in homes. I thought the plastic was easier to remove. It is. So definitely do go with the plastic piping. Ethanol Ethanol says, is it possible to reverse osteoporosis? Yes, it is. Lots of greens, aloe, cucumber, nettle, MSM, and also bring in nettle leaf tea, red raspberry leaf tea, red clover tea, and oat straw tea. Those are really super helpful. Tips to stop osteoporosis. I just answered that question. Wondering if MM protocols have helped Parkinson's or ALS. Yes, they have. Multiple people with Parkinson's and ALS have been able to reverse their conditions using medical medium information. Is the Aura Ring safe to use? I use it every day. I've been using it since 2018. I love my Aura Ring. You can switch it off at night so the Wi-Fi is not on, or you can switch it off all day and the Wi-Fi is not on. So you can go with that. I believe that it's very helpful. Is there anything that can be used topically for actinic keratosis? It's very hard with actinic keratosis. I have not found anything that topically makes a difference for the eruptions and the rashes and the rough skin. But you can soothe with some aloe, and you can soothe with some of the lotions that are on my Amazon store. So if you go to my Amazon store, go to my website, muneezaahmed.com, and click on shop, and it will take you to my Amazon store. And if you look in the skin healing section, I've got lots of items in there that can. There's the good lotion is a really good one to use as well topically. Bharat Simran says, thoughts on whooping cough, bad for health. My husband lives in it. Or whoop, thoughts on whoop. Is that bad for health? Oh man, so like, isn't that like a device that you use? You wear it, and it's designed for um, tracking your symptoms, kind of like the Oura Ring. I don't know. I don't know if you can switch it off, but I wouldn't be able to give you insight into why it's. I think if you can't switch it off and you can't get away from the Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi on it, then yeah, it will definitely have an impact on you. Yeah, definitely. So, Katie White Binkley says, do you use anything in your home to combat the effects of Wi-Fi? I have Organite right here by my desk. I have Organite by my Wi-Fi. I have another Organite here. Oops. Let me show you. This one over here. And then another one on the other side of my desk. So, yeah, we use a lot of Organite all over the house to combat this stuff. Can TMJ cause headaches? 100% it can. 100% it can. Can you recommend oil of oregano capsules? I'm still recommending Gaia Herbs because it doesn't have glycerin in it. And if you can find me a cleaner oil of oregano without any added oil to it, like olive oil, I would love to know. I haven't found one yet. So we're still using this one by Gaia. What brand of nascent iodine can we use now? I've got a lot of questions about supplements. We're still using the same one. I have not found one that works better. Hogo Fogo Selenki. After what time of healing did you feel relief from mold exposure symptoms? About a month. About a month. I did a lot of mold exposure shots though. Sciatica and disc herniation. How can I help? How can I help myself with pain? So if you have that going on, cow poppy, lemon balm, magnesium glycinate, nettle leaf, curcumin are all helpful for pain. Neely says, can we combine lemon balm and nettle leaf together as a shock therapy? He's not talked about shocking nettle. So you can do lemon balm, but if you wanted to shock nettle, you can. You can actually take a lot of nettle. So I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony said it was okay to do a nettle leaf shock therapy. But he has not yet talked about it. I just want to be clear. So how to heal anal stenosis, supplements, foods, anything else? So anal stenosis is, just so people who are listening can follow along. Anal stenosis is basically, it's very rare. And it usually happens after surgery where the anus starts to narrow and maybe there's, scar tissue. So for scar tissue, I would do lots of sweet potatoes. I would do lots of aloe. Aloe is critical to help with that, kind of constriction. Do you know AW's stance on organ donation? I do not. The latest peptide trend, are they going to experience long term side effects? Um, Very likely they are. Is GHK copper peptide people now injecting likely full of heavy metals? All products that are injected contain them, and a bunch of other things too. Metals, formaldehyde, just lots of things, which going into your body you can become allergic to them. How to get rid of tinea versicolor? Clean up your liver. Which foods heal the adrenals? Well, licorice root, ashwagandha, really helpful. Vitamin C, really helpful. Parsley, very supportive of the adrenals. Adrenal fight or flight shifter stabilizer shots from the Brain Saver book, as you can see back here, right? Brain Saver book, really helpful there. And, you know, Lily Jen Go Healthy says EBV in the thyroid, cannot afford supplements. What foods to focus on? I would work with my roadmap to healing, which I would do the morning cleanse. I would do lots of asparagus. I would do lots of artichokes. I would do lots of apples. Yeah, and get some iodine. Do some dulse, kelp. Those will be helpful. Why diarrhea and constipation on the 369 advanced? It's dumping out a whole bunch of poisons, very likely. Receding gums and issues with the teeth because of periodontitis. Swish with celery juice and clean up the diet. Clean up your gut. Do a mono cleanse. Add more aloe. That is helpful. How to do more specifically targeted heal rosacea breakout on So much support on right? The celery juice alone, heavy metal detox by itself, aloe shock therapy. Those all can be helpful. Can you delay kids' puberty with a cleanse? Um, if it's unnaturally early, yes. But if it's naturally that time, then I don't think you could. What are the key supplements for healing depression? Key supplements for healing depression include, um, I mean, if you have the protocols book, he explains it all in there. So, key supplements for healing depression include, well, I'm thinking there's so many. First of all, you're talking about supplements, but I consider brain shots to be like supplements. So mood shifter shot would be a really big one. And then I would do melatonin, GABA, 5-HTP, burnout stabilizer brain shot, really helpful also. Um, you know, ashwagandha is important, 5-MTHF is important. And what else? Celery force, very important. EPA, DHA, very important. Magglycinate, a little iodine, all very important for depression. So a lemon balm too, very important. So I would, say those are probably my go-to supplements there. What can I do about severe heartburn while pregnant? Extra celery juice, parsley, nerve gut acid stabilizer shots, either made with parsley or cilantro to help with that. Can you use the Living Libations ozone gel before bed every day? Yes, you can. Does it help with cavities? It helps to reduce infection. Helga as something, I won't say the word, how to get mold out of the system besides the shot. Aloe and doing the morning cleanse and the 369 cleanse. Sonia says, does this type of acne need, what do histamines have to do with acne? Why did my acne clear on a low histamine diet? Does this type of acne need to be treated differently given the histamine connection? So no, it doesn't need to be treated differently. Acne is caused by strep. Histamines don't have anything to do with acne. Probably when you cleared up your diet, you cleared up some of the foods that were affecting or feeding strep. That's probably why it got better. But there isn't any direct connection other than both issues are rooted in a sick liver, like a sluggish liver. Tiffany says, I have PTSD. How long does it take to heal? Everyone's different. It depends on how glucose deprived your brain is um, when you go into PTSD. So if you have a lot of glucose depletion, it takes a long time to recover. If you have a low glucose depletion, then you can recover more quickly. So everyone's a little bit different. Mona Robang says, what do you eat during the 369 cleanse day? What do you take? What do you take your supplements? So do you mean when do I take my supplements? I take my supplements usually twice a day, in the morning after my heavy metal detox and at the end of the day. What do I eat? I eat what is recommended in the books for the cleanses. Shano says, hello, what do you think of bioresonance diagnostic tests? I think that they can be helpful if you have a very intuitive practitioner. What is the cause of the heat rash only on the upper tummy? Well, it could be anything. It could be pathogenic. It could be from the liver. It could be multiple reasons. TMJ has been on for over 9 years. Do the shingles protocols. There are very high levels of supplements in there, and it will help you to recover from that. So you want to bring in like shock therapies of propolis, shock therapy of golden seal, shock therapy. Medical Medium has even told us that we can do shock therapies of total immune blend. So you can do those. Shock therapies of magnesium, of not magnesium, I'm sorry, zinc and vitamin C also can be helpful. So can Cal Poppy. Actually, a lot of the shock therapies would do really well here. So, why are potatoes constipating, but sweet potatoes are not? They're not constipating. They're just if they can be dehydrating a little bit. So, if you're eating a lot of potatoes and they're dehydrating you, then you should bring in aloe and silica and extra hydration, cucumber juice, melons, apples to help. I have low iron storage, but have iron and am absorbing. Not sure what that means. Low iron storage means you should be having more nettle leaf tea and red raspberry leaf tea mixed together. What to do when getting off prednisone safely? Go very slow. Very, very slow. My son might have molluscum contagium under his arm. What causes this? HHV 10 or 11 causes this. Um, and you want to bring in high levels of vitamin C to help. Charles Guan says, what causes food and stool and what protocols to fix this? Basically dealing with not full digestion happening, a mono eating cleanse, aloe shock therapy will help. Karen, nice to see you here. Um, Karen says, I've recovered my eyebrows and eyelashes and 40% of my hair. Aloe helps heal alopecia, but is fat, and your question got cut off. So let me know what that was. So Kathleen says, Rimergy products have flax in them. What can you do to replace them if you can't have flax? Then I would be using either Nature's Answer or Hawaii Farm or Gaia. How should someone quit smoking um, and support their body before and after? Anthony talks about on his blog, he has the chocolate recipe for coming off of addiction to smoking. And so he talks about how you want to start cutting in your pack in half, putting chocolate inside the empty packet of cigarettes, and letting the chocolate absorb some of the nicotine. And then when you feel like a cigarette, take a little bit of chocolate instead, and it helps you to let go of that craving. Also, craving shifter shots and bringing in a lot more glucose to help replete glucose in the brain to help you get better. That makes a big difference with addictions. So Christine Cousin says, for the last year and a half, I've been doing lots of 369s, original and advanced, and I'm gaining weight. Why? Probably because of probably because of Liver is really needing extra support, so it's probably on a trajectory. So keep at it. You will turn it around eventually and be able to let go. Are you normally fat free? Um, Even when you're not doing a 369, Christine, or do you include fat you're when that's going on? So Karen's question continues: been fat free for so long, trying to heal alopecia, but I'm craving avocado. Then have a little avocado if you're craving it. Cato Pitmas Primus says hair growth isn't an inside job, but just castor oil on the brows help them grow. Put aloe on the brows; it'll help them grow. Vertical lines on nails. That's from a zinc deficiency. Does lack of copper cause anemia? No. Eating your iron causes anemia. What does AW say about red dates, goji berries to treat anemia? He doesn't talk about those to treat anemia. What better if finances prevent daily CJ? 2 days of 16 ounces or 1 day of maybe more, I think you're saying. I would do 2 days of 16 ounces because the more you get every day, the better it is. Sensitivity around the mouth, itchy redness if propolis touches the skin. I wouldn't touch it if I were you. I would keep away if you're getting a reaction. Are you fully healed? As healed as I could be. Everyone's got some niggly issues with the amount of poisons that we live with. So, as much as I can be, I think I'm way better than I was. So, everyone has tiredness or symptoms come up here and there. I'm no different. But I would say I'm sort of 95% there. Soulful by Eliza says red patches on skin, itchy head, neck, belly, 9-month-old baby, restless nights. Where to start? I would start with giving the baby a little bit of celery juice. And you should clean up your own diet if you are nursing the baby. The Swell Home, best protocol for carpal tunnel symptoms. Core 7, which I say is B12, zinc, micro, C lysine, cat's claw, lemon balm, licorice root. Cutting out eggs, dairy, gluten, corn, soy, canola from your diet, and bringing in celery juice, bringing in heavy metal detox, and that will help carpal tunnel a lot. What supplements can I give a 6-month-old baby? It depends on the baby, but you can start with a drop of B12, a drop of zinc. I have to pee all the time on protocols and drink about 64 ounces of living water in a day. Is that enough? It should be good to drink that much water. I think maybe it's more than you need if you're drinking other juices and smoothies as well.
Your eczema?
Okay. Oops. So I think I answered all the questions that were submitted, but let's quickly get through some of the questions on here. So Mai says, how do I get rid of radiation in my brain and also in my house? Well, are you exposed to radiation, like nuclear radiation, or are you exposed to EMFs? And for EMFs, like I showed you the orgonite, those are the best things to put in your home for that. You can also put potatoes near high EMF areas. Do you support the use of laser therapy for reducing brain inflammation? I don't think that it really works. I don't think it's that helpful. I mean, it can provide some relief. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But really, it's an inside job. So you've got to take a lot of things on the inside to help with that. What other fluids can I drink on the original 369 besides lemon water? Coconut water, ginger water, thyme water. All right. What to do for acid reflux? I would do extra celery juice morning and afternoon, or morning and night, and the nerve gut acid stabilizer shots. They can be really helpful, and make sure you've got no unproductive foods in your diet: no coffee, no vinegar, no acidic foods, not too much meat, no dairy, eggs, things like that. So if you all are still here and hanging out, I have to run soon, but if you are interested at all in the Blossom program, we have a practitioner track where I'm teaching the science of birth and the science of the hormones of birth, which many people have been interested in signing up for. So check it out. But also, if you are at all thinking of getting pregnant, know somebody who is, want to have a family at some point, or already have children, and you want to know more about your feminine energy as a woman and how to raise them, we're covering all that in Blossom. So check it out. Email me if you have questions, and I can share more about it. But it's just started, and so it's still time to join. I love hanging out with you guys. Susan Horan, good to see you too. Gail, nice to see you. I didn't realize there are more questions that have popped up. But I gotta run, and I'll catch